as well. But your Cool FM show, obviously, one big part of you getting that show is obviously you're signing with RAM. RAM Records, the premier organisation in drum and bass. Debatable to some, maybe, but there's no denying that history that they've got there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask how this come about and what does the history of RAM mean to you and actually being part of that now?
So how we got onto RAM, how we got signed to RAM was at the beginning of 2018. They put up a post to say that Andy C's compiling his Nightlife series, the 7th Nightlife series, and they were looking to open it out to new producers. So send a tune across for consideration. At the time, we just transitioned. We were trying some more harder bits.
Yep.
A friend of ours originally saw the post and said, "Josh, James, you should send a tune in." I was like, "Yeah, we'll do that."
And initially, I was like, "That tune's not going to be good enough for RAM," because obviously at the time you had the really big artists. I mean, Sub Focus, Delta Heavy, Rain Levice had all the massive ones, and then you listened to our tune and you think, "Is it as good?" And for me, I had a lot of self-confidence issues with the tunes that I was writing. I was thinking, no, it's not going to be it's not as good as theirs.
So we wrote a tune specifically. We wrote Paradigm for it. It was at the time, it came at just a good time. We were just changing, and we finished up Paradigm and sent it through, and then didn't hear anything. Sent it through and continued on our way. Didn't hear anything back, so I just thought, oh well, okay, fair enough, crack on. And then I'd like to say about 2.5 months later, three months later,
Yeah.
I woke up to an email one day from the label manager to say that about Paradigm. He says, "Hi guys, hope you're good. Love Paradigm." Oh no, he said Paradigm. What a bad tune. Now you think, well, hang on a minute. At first I was like, what is he saying? No, bad tune is in bad, good, bad tune, that sort of thing. And he pretty much said, love this. This is going to be put forward to the it's going to be shortlisted for Andy to review the final batch. But he pretty much said, have you got anything else, any more tunes, send them away. And from then emails went back and forth. Emails went back and forth over a year, a very long time. And then eventually it led to the first Paradigm EP. So Paradigm, the No Laughter VIP, and Scene Savage. So it was a year, just over a year of sending tracks through. Some didn't make the cut, but we were just they were working with us, and we were at this point, because we knew we were ran right, and we were pushing ourselves to get better as producers, and it just and that's how it happened. And then when the first EP, just before the first EP came, we went to see them, didn't we?
Yep.
We went down to London to meet up. So I've always been a person of, we've been chatting for a while over emails. It'd be good to meet up and actually just get to know each other even more. We met up in London and pretty much got signed. The EP had been, we talked about the release schedule. The EP got finalised, and that's how the story goes.
For you then, you mentioned how long that journey was from hearing Paradigm to it finally getting out and getting signed up, that year-long journey. And one of the things I do hear from a lot of artists who get signed to big labels is the length of time it takes for the music to come out. Is there any advice that you can give on that in terms of, kind of holding your nerve with it, not getting pissed off and just having that expectation? Or do you think that, really it can get a time where, okay, we're going to pass this track on to somebody else now? Because there's a big opportunity to be had, but there's a lot of anxiety there over a year, isn't it, to see what's going on with the track?
Yeah, it was, but I think from our point, we knew we'd got one. So there was, without going into too much detail, I think a lot of it was actually just getting a batch of tracks in and then deciding we did have different options. We sent a few more tunes. There was potentially the option to go down program route, do a 2-track single on a program route. You had Program 100 was going on in the background as well, which Big Rig went for that. But it actually, I think a lot of it was just trying to get a batch of music that they were happy with at the time, that they could see having a long shelf life. But at the same time, when you're coming into it, it can be tricky, because if you're coming if you're starting out, the ability to jump up levels in terms of competency in production skills is tricky. And you think, well, Paradigm was written in 2018, and then the final version of Seen Savage was a year later, but it's making sure that it's not too noticeable. I would say hold tight. And from our experience of releasing on RAM, it's been the tracks are not written in a linear fashion of, okay, that the first release means that the track got written first. It's all down to release schedule and what they do. And yeah, it takes a long time, and also we had the thing of, even the hardest thing is we couldn't tell anyone. We could not tell anyone. We were not allowed. We had to keep this really quiet. So imagine for 18 months, only was our friend and our family were the only ones who knew. So we had to continue. We couldn't just go quiet on the Ransom and Synthforce. So in the background, we were basically, at one point, we were doing a parallel alias releasing.
Was it exclusive with RAM as well?
Yes,
it was.
Yes, it was.
So were you allowed? I mean, obviously, through that 18-month process until there's any announcement, were you allowed to still release music and make music elsewhere?
Yes. So that's where that's why the Syran name was like this new project. This is what it's going to be. And from that point on, from when we knew things were like with RAM, we stopped writing music under our old names, but we were still finalizing up some EPs and some tracks that we had with these other labels that again had them sat ready to go. So we then worked with them to just have this crossover period, because I didn't want to. We asked ourselves, do we try and keep two names going? And it's like, no, you can't. Let's do it. Let's end the solo stuff. It's been a great run. And it sort of led to the Syran project. So yeah, I would say it can be. I don't know how the other labels work, and some of our tunes took years to release. I mean, the first EP took a while, but we wanted to get it right. And then some tunes, I would say an average was a year. And then there's been some tunes where we've had a quicker turnaround. It's all down to release schedule, and you've just got to hold fire and not get too anxious. And I think there is, with the way that music's consumed these days, I can see why people are getting anxious. But at the same time, once you've finished a tune or a batch of tunes and you've got them signed, brilliant. Move on to the next ones. And we have this mentality of, okay, stuff that we write now is going to be released in a year time, so you always work a year ahead. And as long as you're writing music, that's all that matters. And the idea in an ideal world is you want it so it's nice and regular releases. And that's where you speak to labels, build up the relationship with the labels so that you can get an idea of what their release schedule can work with, and be honest with them and say to them, if you are releasing with multiple labels, keep them all in the loop about what else you've got going on, so that they can try and schedule things. You can work with them to schedule things, and they can work with you, because
it's about building a good reputation and the communication between you as the artist and then the record label. And that was one of the things that really helps us through that 18-month process, was we were good at communicating with each other and knowing where things were. So it wasn't like we were just kept in the dark for many months and then out of the blue, oh yeah, by the way, this has happened. So,
yeah, they were working with us, basically what A&R. They were, at the time I didn't really know, but they were working with us, and I learned so much, because you learn how a big record label works. And at the time, and it still is, at the time, the whole of RAM was being run by about 5-6 people. And at the time, I was like, wow, it's mind-blowing how a massive brand, and it's been looked after by a small team of people. But I learned, and that's the thing, a chance to, with the label manager, when we met up, I'd ask him questions on things that he knows, and the same with the person who does all the PR, ask her what she knows, and just all this knowledge, industry knowledge that you can take as an artist. And actually, when you go to labels and you've got an understanding of what the behind the scenes music business side works, labels like that, because it means you can work with them to make it easier.
Yeah.
And I've learned so much. I'm always learning, and that's what it's about. Some artists, it's very easy to send a tune in, get it signed, and then sit back and expect the labels to do all the work. and then begs and
You
go
talk
right.
about
Okay. Yeah.
you talk about all the learning. Have you got any plans to take that learning and create your own record label? Do you think that's going to be on the cards at any point?
Not yet, no.
Well,
Have we considered it?
Yeah.
Yes. Have we thought that we have the knowledge and time to do it?
no.
No.
It's such time consuming. It's respect to all the label owners out there. It's so difficult, and I'm organised, but it's
Yeah.
all it's so many working cogs, and it relies on other people. And you may be organised, but not everyone else will be on the same level as you, and that can be one of the hardest things to do. And that's why when we've been working with RAM, I've always been like, if we need to be as easy and just be, if they ask us to do something, do it right away rather than leave it to the last minute. Just
You're right. You're right with it, definitely.
Be
I mean,
proactive.
one of the main things with RAM is it's organization. You know, one of the things that allows me to run 3 record labels is organization. Without that, there's absolutely no chance of doing it. So to have those moving parts and that machine actually functioning right, everything's got dates, everything's got a schedule, and as long as they all fall in around that, you're okay. And you can kind of every release, okay, we'll just throw that into that pot, that date, and it helps a lot. It helps a lot with the organization rather than just doing things on the fly, for sure.
And definitely just want to say being easy to try and be easy to work with as well, because even though it is a massive scene, is that that it's very likely that paths will cross in the future with some people. So if you are easy to work with, people they will take note of it and go, actually, I can rely on these, Syran, that if we need something, that they will do it quickly, or and they're easy to work with, so that like in the future, it's always they'll come to you as one of the first people to go, oh, we need something done. These guys, they're really easy to work with. I'm sure they'll be happy to help. Let's give them the opportunity.
And that's how Cool FM sort of came about, because they came to us for scheduling and they're like, we're really sorry, guys, but there's a space opened up. Did you want to do it? You haven't got long to turn around a show. There was one time where we had less than 24 hours to turn around a show. I said, yes, I'll do it. And I pretty much, the plans that I had in our life, to whatever we do, I said I pulled it to one, pushed them out, and I did it was a long night, but I got it done. And I think sometimes I'd love to say that the whole music industry is very much organized, but there's times where it isn't, and can be a bit lastminute.com. But if you somehow get asked and you can do what you can to turn it around, people will remember that and opportunities can come. I don't like doing it. I like to be organized and have time. And
when you sat there trying to do voiceovers at 2 o'clock in the morning, you think, why am I doing this? But then once it's done, and you've submitted it within the time and it's happened, they will remember. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know that you've stayed up till 2 a.m. to do voiceovers, but it's like they've come to us for a short turnaround, and we produce something of quality within that time.
Big thank you.
Big thank you. And they'll go, and it's like some people might just take that and just never do anything with it, but then some people will make a note and go, these guys have really helped us out here, and so we will, if there's any opportunities going forward, if new things that they do, that then think, okay, who are people that we can rely on? These guys.
This is when we went down to do one of our guest shows, we got a chance to speak to the producers, and we talked it out, and they said this is why they've said you've saved us a few times, because they don't want to put a playlist on, they want to put live shows or shows on. So that's why and sometimes people can't commit to their original scheduling. It happens. So spaces open up, and this is the chance to get your foot in the door, and we took the chance. So that's what I'd say to people. Don't get anxious. Things do take time, but also it gives the time. During this whole dub plate culture still exists. I know that it may not be as long these days, but it's still, you can still give the tune out to people, as long as you let the label know who's got it, and then you can people start playing the tune, and it's like, oh, what's this tune? Oh, it's coming, and you get them hyped, ready for the release. How many times has the tune come out that everyone's been waiting years for?
What's up everyone, Leo HF here, the host of DNB Wraps. Thank you for watching our videos. If you like what you're hearing and seeing on the channel, please make sure you're subscribing to it. Please make sure you thumbs up the videos, and more importantly, let's get some comments going as well. It really helps the channel, and in order for us to provide this content to you, we do need the channel to grow. So we can't do this without your help. Hope you enjoy the video. Speak to you soon.